Hey there, friends. This is Jake from the Chasing Quality Podcast. How are you doing today? Thanks for joining me. I wanted to talk to you about the Canon 11-22mm f4.0 to 5.6 EFM mount wide-angle zoom lens. That's what I've currently got on the camera right now, and I thought that maybe you would enjoy a little bit of an adventure with me as I talk through what I've been doing with this lens, what I think about the lens, and whether or not I think I'm going to keep it, and whether or not I would recommend that you check it out as well. Okay, so as an 11-22mm lens on a crop sensor, it is roughly 18 to 35mm equivalent for a full frame. So it's a pretty good range. It's got a nice background. You can see quite a bit in the background here. You can see my barn. You can see a bunch of other crap there. Because it is f4.0, it does not have much of a bokeh, so you can see all sorts of crap in the background, stuff that I maybe really don't care for you to see. And so this may be something for you to think about if you are going to do any sort of vlogging where you don't want the background visible. If you want the background visible, this is great. See, I can put, this is my arm fully all the way out. And I've got the image, I do have the image stabilization turned off, the camera image stabilization, so all we're getting is the stabilizer from the lens. And I would say it's doing a pretty good job. I'm not too jerky with this lens, but I've got it pretty stable. And just so you know, I've got my arm at about a 90-degree angle, so it's pretty good. Now let's take a look at a couple of, you've seen the image stabilization as I hold it now, but let's take a look at some image stabilization of driving and see how that works. I'll show you what it looks like with just the stabilizer in the camera lens, and then the digital stabilizer and the enhanced digital stabilizer, and then you can kind of see what that looks like. All right, so here we are, driving in the old truck.
The old truck.
Only have on the, actually all the digital stabilization's turned off, so it's only the camera's stabilization, but we're, oh, how fast are you going, sweetie? You're going 45 miles an hour.
No, 40.
40, but the road's pretty smooth, but I'd say that the stabilization is pretty darn good.
How can you tell? You're not even looking.
Because I can see it in the, I mean, how can I tell? I can see it in the screen.
I thought you have to rewatch the video.
Well, yeah, I'll have to rewatch the video to see how bad it is for the viewers, but I'd say it's pretty decent in what I'm seeing in the screen. And that's at 11 millimeters. It's 22 millimeters. Not bad. I don't think it's too bad. Okay, now we've got the digital stabilization on at 11 millimeters. Of course, it's zoomed in a little bit more because there's a little bit of a crop. We'll see what that looks like smoothed out once we play it back. Definitely makes it a little bit more of a difference. Yeah, let's try the enhanced. Okay, now we've got the enhanced digital stabilization on. Still at 11 millimeters, as you can see, we're zoomed in quite a ways, and that's because of the cropping. I think the cropping at this point is like 2.56 times over what you get with full frame. But I can still hold it at a decent arm's length, get my face in there, my beautiful face.
Are you putting this on YouTube?
Probably. Do you want me to put it on YouTube? I'm going to put it on YouTube. Should I put it on? We're gonna put it on YouTube. That'll be sweet.
Let the view.
As far as ergonomics go, it's as I said, it's well built. It's easy to handle. It feels good using it. I'm really happy with it. No complaints at all about usability and ergonomics and how it feels in my hand. Speed's something to talk about. The autofocus is nice and quick. You know, it's right there. It's super fast. But the other speed factor is the speed for the aperture. It is, again, it's 4.0, so you're not going to get a very fast lens here, so it's not going to be the greatest at low light photography, so keep that in mind. For what it's worth, right now I am holding this at about a 90 degree, and my elbow is bent at 90 degrees, and I've got it pretty close to me. It's only maybe 8 or 9 inches from my face, so my face does look a little bit distorted probably, but this is a really comfortable to hold. It's not heavy. It seems to be doing a pretty good job of capturing me, and it still captures quite a bit in the background. Now, if I were using a 22, let's zoom in at 22 here. That's 22 millimeters. I can hold, if I've got a 22 millimeter lens on there, I have to hold it way out. to capture my whole head. So, and this is, let's go to 15 millimeters. This is what you would get on the kit lens. That's 15 millimeters. That's on the kit lens, and that's a 90-degree angle with my elbow bent. So that's comfortable, but again, my face is taking up pretty much the whole shot. If I zoom out to 11 millimeters, and it's important, if it's important for you to have that background, yeah, you maybe want this 11 millimeter lens. You can see my kid's playhouse, you can see the house, you can see the pasture, you can see all sorts of stuff in the background. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out some images that I took on a hike that my wife and I went on to Patapsco State Park. It's quite a pretty morning out here. Okay, so this first image is, I had a little bit of fun with it this is all Lightroom, this wasn't Photoshop. But this is just a nice image out in one of the nature trails. I made a couple adjustments on the clarity and the texture curves in Lightroom and got this kind of a whimsical, soft image that I thought was kind of cool. Okay, so here's an image of some trash, and this is really disappointing. It makes me really sad that people do this, which is part of the reason why I shot it. But I also wanted to show that this is f6.3, and this was at 21 millimeters zoomed in on it. The shutter speed was 1/60th of a second. So it got pretty good detail. And I think that if we zoom in, we can still see quite a bit of good detail in the trash that's out the far end. So stabilized, not bad in the shade. I mean, we're starting to get a little bit of graininess, but that graininess is because of it's more because of the ISO on the camera and not because of the camera, not because of the lens itself. This ISO was 1000. This next image is just of the river, and I was trying to get nice motion blur from the water, and I think I achieved that. It's not superb, not professional quality, but it's not bad. And if we can zoom in a little bit to appreciate it a little bit more, you can see that there is still some nice detail in the rocks. The trees across the river are a little bit blurred, but that's because the leaves were going to be moving. But the rocks themselves are still relatively sharp. The ISO was set at 100. This was at f22 on the aperture, and 11 millimeters. We were zoomed out all the way, the widest angle, and that was a half a second shot. So I thought that turned out decent. Kind of cool. Okay, next shot. Here again was some more trash. This was not mine. This was left behind by other hikers. Thank you so much. In Lightroom, I pulled out some of the shadows so you can see a little bit more texture in the rocks. But this wasn't edited very much. And we can zoom in and we can see some really nice detail on the moisture inside of the Dunkin' Donuts cup. And no, I do not fault Dunkin' Donuts for this. They make delicious, delicious things, and we did actually partake in some Dunkin' Donuts after this hike. But the quality is really nice. The clarity that you get, the colors are beautiful, very much real to life. This looks very realistic. Very happy with the way the colors turn out on this camera. This next one is going to show what the lens flare looks like. You have the sun coming up through the trees there. Not too bad. I think it actually kind of adds a nice visual to the image. Again, we've got the river here and some really nice texturing we can see in the trees. Nice detail. I'll zoom in a little bit here. It's of course going to get blurry if we get super zoomed in, but this was handheld, and handheld at 1/60th of a second from this far away is going to be a little bit blurry, even if you do have image stabilization. But not bad. I think that shows how good the image stabilization is, considering what the shutter speed is. The ISO is set down pretty low, as 125. So not bad. Not bad. I was pretty happy with that photo too. This one was, obviously I've done a little bit of work in Lightroom, but not much. This wasn't photoshopped at all. This was just, this was 4/5 of a second. As far as the shutter speed, aperture was set to f16 and the ISO at 100. I thought this was kind of cool. I actually like this photo better than the other one where I'd done the extended exposure. Just the way the light the light trails are in the river water as it kind of leaks through the rocks. I thought was kind of cool. Okay, this next shot is just a peaceful shot over, looking down the river. We see the sun in the background. This was a little bit overexposed. I could have probably done some work in Lightroom to reduce the exposure of the sky, but I liked seeing the sun pouring there and across the trees. So I liked it, but the image is pretty nice. Zoom in a little bit here, and we have pretty good detail out deep. Okay. Next one is a picture of some geese. Let's zoom in. This is the same image that we've zoomed in pretty far, and it still maintains a certain amount of clarity there. So not too bad. Again, these are all handheld. I had the Adobe tripod with me, but I did not set it down to take these photos. So we are going to get a little bit of motion blur. Next one is a close-up of a spider web. Nothing too exciting there. Just wanted to show a bit of a close-up. This is one of the trails. I did do a little bit of work in Lightroom to up the texture and the clarity, those curves, and so you kind of see a little bit of a intentional graininess and the layering of the light through the trees. I kind of liked the shot. I thought it was kind of cool. And this is another image similar to the one that we started off with, where I'd softened up the clarity, I'd softened up the textures to make it kind of, I don't know if you call it whimsical, but definitely a little more artsy as far as the soft colors, but really, really nice colors that you get from this lens. I didn't do any changing of the colors. This is all simply just adjusting the exposure a little bit and adjusting the clarity and the texture levels. Pretty cool, pretty cool. It's not moving. So what do I think of this lens? Am I going to keep this lens? Am I going to keep it? Am I going to keep this lens? I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep it. I think I will. I think I'm probably going to keep it because I want to do this handheld vlogging. There are times when I want to be able to have the background visible, but more importantly, if I'm doing long vlogs and I've got to hold this silly little contraption for a long period of time, I want to be able to hold it close to my body. Are you going to be doing a lot of landscape? Are you going to be doing a lot of real estate? Then maybe you're going to want this 11-22mm. If you're not going to be doing those things and you're okay with your face being if you're okay with your face being that large on the screen and your elbow at a 90-degree angle, you can get by with the 15mm to 45mm kit lens. It's a really great value for what you get, and then you get the added zoom to 45mm. You don't get that with this. So you may be better off with the 15 to 45mm kit lens. There is nothing wrong with that lens. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Bang for your buck, it's a great, great lens. This is just, if you've got the money to spend and you want to add an extra lens to your toolkit, this is a really nice upgrade to get you that wide angle end. Get this lens and then you've pretty much got that wide angle end covered. The only thing you'd be lacking is something that's maybe faster. Maybe you'd want to get a Rokinon, that 12mm f2.0 or something. But for the most part, this will cover your wide angle needs. And then you can start looking at the telephotos for the other end. But yeah, I like the lens. I think I'm going to keep it. Really happy with it. I've got nothing bad at all to say about it. A little pricey, but I think it goes with the territory. It is a Canon, but I've been really happy with the colors, as you saw in the pictures and you heard me say. So thanks for watching. If you haven't checked out our podcast yet, maybe you want to check it out, the Chasing Quality Podcast. It's on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, all those other places. Check it out. Send us some feedback. Let us know what you think. Until next time, you keep chasing that quality because you know I will. Bye-bye.